Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening? My name is Dr. Clarence and welcome back to TV7 Live. Recently, we saw news of a protest at the University of Zimbabwe. Now we are seeing headlines like this. University of Zimbabwe lecturers take police to court over protest crackdown. But before we go there, we see the Zimbabwe Defense Forces release a press release, and this press release, they are setting a record straight. This has to do with a former Air Force officer involved at the University of Zimbabwe protest. What was he doing there? What was his role? And what is the Zimbabwe Defense Forces saying? And why are they releasing a statement on this? Is something deeper than this happening, fellow Zimbabweans? Then we see a trending story. This one, I have to put it here. This has to do with silent killer. Silent killer refusing to board a plane to the United Kingdom. Now, this is a serious story, and I have to appeal to all Zimbabweans, especially Zimbabweans in the diaspora, educated Zimbabweans, not ignorant, wallowing charlatans, loudmouths. No, I mean educated people who know what they talk about, not fools who talk about what they do not know. Remember, the devil is the father of all lies. What is happening with silent killer? I hear jealous fools always blaming drugs. Do you know what drugs are? Do you know the effects of drugs in Zimbabwe? One drug that is prevalent is methyl 2-propanone or methamphetamine, a stimulant, not a depressant. A stimulant doesn't give stress, doesn't put one under depression. The drug, a drug that is more dangerous than any drugs, is alcohol. Maybe love can lead even to murders, can lead to robberies. But the even worse drug is demons, is dirty minds, is preaching the gospel of the devil. Remember, we did do Lost Soldier Love, to tales of demons, people with nothing to do who are busy tailing other people in their lives. Silent killer is an entertainer, is not a school teacher, is not an elected official. His fans love him, no matter the story. Even if silent killer has 5,000 wives, even if he takes 5,000 grams of drugs daily. Can silent killer take more drugs than Puff Daddy, that he may go so-called crazy? I'm appealing to the Zimbabweans in the diaspora, educated in mental well-being and health. Let's talk about mental illness. What is it? Does that exist? Or what exists is dysfunctional people who pester other people. That is the reality. Why do we have words like peer pressure? What is peer pressure? Hey, you are not my bro. Stay away from me. You are not my peer. You are not my colleague. Lucifer, get behind me. Now, for a public figure, it's difficult. It's difficult because they have fans and supporters. They are also fanatics and blood-sucking pests. So we don't keep silent. Drugs is not the issue. It's never the issue. Have you ever heard Those who take antiretroviral drugs daily going crazy. Drugs as big as my finger. Have you ever seen them go crazy? Bob Marley, buffing and puffing and huffing cannabis. Did you see him go crazy? You see him get murdered. You see Soldier Love get murdered. Now, you can't murder silent killer. I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus. Be blessed, silent killer, wherever you are. I speak wellness into your life right now. Right now. May those evil spirits, be it ministering spirits, be it monitoring spirits, be it familiar spirits, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, do something, do something, do something. I make this prayer in front of all these Zimbabweans watching. Dear Lord, do show your power, do show your grace, do show your mercy. In the name of Jesus, I humble myself before you, dear Lord. I am a proud Zimbabwean, I'm a proud creator, a proud artist, but I'm not too proud to ask for your help, dear Lord. Do help us, because only you are our path to salvation. Only you are our path to freedom. We don't negotiate with Lucifers. We don't negotiate with terrorists. We tell Lucifer at this moment, we tell Satan, go to hell, Satan, in the name of Jesus. Now, back to the story. Fellow Zimbabweans, wherever you are, one high-paying business in Zimbabwe is not gold mining. It is not growing trees so that people can make papers to print Bibles. It is tobacco farming. Don't worry. Tobacco is not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. In the Bible we see 12 commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not be a false witness. Envy. The Bible speaks against envy. And when Jesus leaves after the final supper, where he gives his disciple bread and some beers, this is my flesh, this is my blood. He says, I leave you with one commandment. In fact, he leaves them with one commandment just before the ascension, not the Last Supper. Just before the ascension, after the doubting Thomas. And he says, I leave you with one commandment. Love one another. Respect to Archbishop Ezekiel Guti. And God, may God bless his soul. Now we see the Zimbabwe Defense Forces write this letter. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the interesting stories to the majority. Remember, the public, the majority is always wrong. Zimbabwe Defense Forces sets the record straight that Group Captain Boniface Mwakorera is a retired officer. Zimbabwe Defense Forces has noted with concern the stories published online and circulating on various social platforms that inaccurately report that Group Captain retired Boniface Mwakorera is serving in the Air Force of Zimbabwe. The officer served in the Air Force of Zimbabwe and retired on May 31, 2021 in the rank of Group Captain. In such instances, it is prudent to accurately capture that he is a retired Group Captain. Failure to capture such details has the potential to mislead the public that the actions by individuals are associated with the Zimbabwe Defense Forces So the Zimbabwe Defense Forces is not necessarily de-associating itself from this officer, but is de-associating itself from the protest that happened at the University of Zimbabwe. And then they close. In the particular case, on the arrest of Group Captain retired Makorera at the University of Zimbabwe, it should be categorically known that ZDF is not associated with these actions. The ZDF is a disciplined force dedicated to protecting Zimbabwe and its people. So this is coming from the public relations. This press release is not written, is not authored by a military person. A military person does not use such language patterns or syntax. Now what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? We see a retired Air Force officer, Bonkes Makorera, was arrested during a fiery protest at the University of Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe Defense Forces quickly steps in to set the record straight. But what's really going on here? Let us break it down. Let's break it down. On 17 April 2025, at the back of Harare CBD, Kwatinotiku town, the University of Zimbabwe is the location in Harare, becomes the epicenter of a growing movement. We see lecturers, staff fed up with poor salaries and deteriorating working conditions take it to the streets. They are demanding to pre-October 2018 wage levels before Zimbabwe's economic crisis has deepened. Now, there is information coming. This is coming into the Academic Union of Teachers, AUT. Lecturers are earning a measly $250 and zig 6,000 a month, an amount that has no significance, continues to lose its value with the passage of time due to inflation and current currency volatility. Now the protest is getting tense. Zimbabwe Republic Police steps in. They arrest 4 people. 3 UZ lecturers and a surprising figure. His name is Bonkes Makorera. He is a retired group captain from the Air Force of Zimbabwe. Who is this Makorera? And what is he doing at the University of Zimbabwe? What is his role at the UZ? He can't be just any protester. In fact, he isn't any protester. He is a retired group captain who served in the Air Force of Zimbabwe. It is part of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. He is said to have retired in July on the 14th in the year 2021, as noted in the ZDF statement we just read just now. Now, he is said to have transitioned into a new role at the University of Zimbabwe. What are the exact details? What is the intelligence, the intel, the public records, and the classified information? We see speculation on X is growing. One X user would suggest maybe he was representing fellow workers' interests, though through leading a demonstration at the UZ. It is likely that Makorera took on a role either as a lecturer or a staff member at the UZ after his military career. Now, what role would he have taken? Given his rank and experience, he may have been teaching in a department like political science, history, or even a military studies program. Or perhaps he joined the university's administrative staff. What is clear is that he is a soldier and he continues to be one. He becomes a vocal leader in the fight for better remuneration, for better income, for better wages, for better salaries, for better earnings for your work. Ladies and gentlemen, salaries are a salary is not like free money. It is your blood, it is your sweat, it is your tears, it is your livelihood. In literature, we even call working citizens breadwinners. Maybe breadwinners for one family, for a group of families, for an entire bloodline. That is what going to work is. Going to work is earning a livelihood, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you decide, I'm not going to be growing a field of my own. We're going to be working as a community in this industrialized community where there is a production line, type of production, division of labor. As we move towards one vision is humanity, one vision is us, one vision is moving forward. This vision is not limited to Vision 2020 or Vision 2040, kana 50, kana 2000. It's an eternal vision. Now, we see his military training, his military background in the discipline likely gave him confidence. It would be his nature. He is now a soldier. A soldier is always a soldier. Ladies and gentlemen, now we see the Zimbabwe Defense Forces waste no time in responding. On April 18, 2025, they issue a press release. And we see this press release is shared by Children of Zimbabwe War Veterans Association. It is titled, Zimbabwe Defense Forces says the record straight that Group Captain Boniface Makorera is a retired officer. Ladies and gentlemen, a retirement is not a resignation. A retirement simply means taking an indefinite off. Once a soldier, always a soldier. You don't retire from your rank. A rank is end. A rank is a status, ladies and gentlemen. A rank is not a bus stop. Now, why did the Zimbabwe Defense Forces feel they need to clarify this? Well, the Zimbabwe Defense Forces prides itself on being a disciplined force, focused on protecting Zimbabwe's sovereignty. We need to do our own research on the meaning of sovereignty, territorial sovereignty, personal sovereignty. What sovereignty means, ladies and gentlemen, sovereignty doesn't mean being promised the land and maybe the only land you're gonna see is not a land mine, but an exploding economy, exploding, not as in a boom. It will be a doom. So we see the ZDF role, disciplined force, protecting the nation, the people of Zimbabwe, territorial integrity, national interests, as outlined in their mission statement. Having a former officer involved in a civilian protest could blur the lines between military and civilian spheres, something the ZDF wants to avoid at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. So active duty officers, Zimbabwean military being the most disciplined military anywhere in the world, you will not see an active duty officer taking part in a protest, especially during volatile politicking times like these ones, ladies and gentlemen, right now, I can get into any street with the public address system. I can conjure a mob and we can do a protest in the next 30 minutes. We just cook up the good language. Ladies and gentlemen, is there no crisis in Zimbabwe? Yes, there is crisis. 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 But we need to be aware of career activism. Am I suggesting that any of these people are career activists? No, they are people fighting for their livelihoods. We need better remunerations to our civil servants so that we can improve our public confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe is grappling with debt crisis. Its sovereignty debt averages 60% of GDP. This economic strain has led to underfunding in public sectors like education. Teachers and lecturers are leaving the country in droves. There is no motivation. Basically, the education system is not even educating. Educational certificates have become more like ID cards. They've become as useless as driver's licenses, which you can just buy, even from the uncomfort of your own home, if Mafume doesn't come to demolish it. So we see the Zimbabwe Defense Forces responding, being responsible there. Why? To keep the nation intact. Ladies and gentlemen, in Zimbabwe, we only have one political party that has managed to survive. The political party is ZRP. There is no other political party. Yes, the ministers are useless. Yes, they are losers who don't know what they are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, what alternative do we have? We have an alternative right now which cannot even hold one alternative political party that is not ZRP. Ladies and gentlemen, can we run an entire nation when we can't run a private organization? Kukundwa nema burial society. With that, I'm gonna sign out.